Puerto Rico. I bet you didn't know it had a subway system. Well, it does, and it's named the Tren Urbano. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the system, its history, and where it can go in the future. Like, subscribe, and consider becoming a channel member for more content like this in the future. So, just what is the Tren Urbano? Well, it is the subway system serving the island of Puerto Rico, or, to be more specific, the eastern side of the island, primarily the municipalities of San Juan, Guaynabo, and Bayamon. The system comprises one line with 16 stations and over 10 miles of track. It runs in a J shape between its two termini, Sagrado Corazon and Bayamon. Run by the Integrated Transit Authority, or ATI, the line sees a daily ridership of 18,600. For comparison, over 150,000 people use the G line in New York City every day. Anyway, a single fare for the Tren Urbano costs $1.50, 75 cents if you're transferring from an AMA bus. Talking about the AMA bus, 5 train stations also serve as bus terminals. Wow, look at that, MTA. Good bus connections. Except that they aren't. Many of the island's residents criticize the bus network for not having great service nor connections in the San Juan metro area. Anyway, I was talking about the fares, so here's the fare card. You noticed the similarities too, right? This was the most surprising feature I found when I first wrote the system in summer last year. It's basically a metro card, although it isn't as easy to swipe it at the turnstiles. I was actually at a turnstile for over 5 minutes trying to swipe the card and failed so much that I seriously started to consider hopping it. Now, I bet you didn't know this, but Puerto Rico actually has a great deal of transit history. Regional rail systems began to serve the island in the late 19th century, and in the early 20th century, San Juan had its own tramway, named the Trolley de San Juan. Many used this tramway and the regional rail system to traverse the city of San Juan and the rest of the island. However, that all ended in the 1950s. During this decade, automobiles became more widely available, and with the construction of more roadways and highways, it became the preferred mode of transit. To combat the severe traffic situation that was under creation, proposals arose for a rapid transit system in the late 60s. Many studies were conducted on the proposed line in the 70s and 80s. In 1989, the DTOP, or Departamento de Transportación y Obras Públicas, adopted a proposal to begin designing a rail system for the San Juan metro area. In 1992, a design was chosen, one which comprised mostly of elevated track with few underground stations. This design is the same one that was constructed and came to fruition. The contract for the line, which was partially constructed by Siemens AG, was awarded in July 1996. The entire project cost about $2.28 billion. Wow, maybe we can learn some things from Puerto Rico. Construction on the line was completed in 2004, with it opening in December of that same year. In an attempt to get people to choose the new rail line over driving, ATI offered free service. This attempt to get people to ride the line was successful, with over 40,000 people using the Tren Urbano by the end of the free period. However, ridership dropped off drastically after that, falling to 24,000, less than 1/3 of the 80,000 riders per day projection. One of the major criticisms of the system is that it just isn't expansive enough and doesn't serve important areas like Old San Juan, Carolina, and the city's major airport. I think this is one of the reasons it doesn't see high ridership. The line would see much more ridership if it ran through the areas highly trafficked by tourists, such as the aforementioned San Juan and Isla Verde. Even if the line just went to the airport, it would see considerably higher ridership numbers. The DTOP plans 3 Tren Urbano expansions for the future. Phase 1A, an extension of the current line, which was a part of Phase 1, will see the line extended north 2 stations to Manillas, where a free transfer would be available to another line, that we'll get into in a minute. Phase 2 would branch off of the current line at the Rio Piedras station and run east to Carolina, connecting many underserved municipalities in the process. Provisions for the extension already exist, with a tunnel spanning nearly 150 feet being present south of the Rio Piedras station. There are some other projects, like a tram line connecting Old San Juan to the Manias extension of the current line and to the Luis Munoz Marin International Airport, and another which involves constructing a new light regional railcar network that would extend throughout the island. Oh, how much I would pay for a train ride from Aguadilla to San Juan. If this ever comes to fruition, I better see some attractive rolling stock, maybe cargo bob a couple of Class 345s out of London. Talking about rolling stock though, it's time to talk about the trains the current line uses. The system's fleet consists of 74 Siemens-built cars, each of them being 75 feet long. Each car has 3 doors on either side, destination displays on the front and interior, and automated announcements. They typically operate as 4-car trains, however, they have been spotted in up to 6-car consists during rush hours and only a single married pair during nights. Something that might surprise you about these cars is that they can run fully automated. From what I've seen though, operators are always present, probably because of safety concerns. These trains maybe don't have the best design, but they work, and they work well for the environment they serve. With them being configured in married pairs, they can be formed into consists that fit demand. Let's just hope that if the system gets expanded further, they can order some subway cars that have a nicer design. Something similar to the new MARTA CQ400 or BART Fleet of the Future cars wouldn't be a horrible addition to the system. I think this is a pretty cool system, and I definitely enjoyed riding it the last time I was in Puerto Rico. I do have some complaints though, and they mainly stem from the system not being expansive enough. Not enough funding is put into the public transportation systems in San Juan and the island as a whole. It's sad because with funding and enough will from the government, transit connectivity throughout the island can be improved. And to be honest, it really needs to be improved. Too much of the island relies on personal vehicles for transit, and that needs to change. Coming from the heart of a Puerto Rican, expand and improve the system. I look forward to covering more about the Tren Urbano and other transit-related topics in Puerto Rico in the future. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video and you would like to get more from Mystic Transit, like, subscribe, and consider becoming a channel member.